So let's start. And first let's talk about Kiev, because Zelensky today made lots of very important statements regarding the situation. A complete ceasefire is possible in the coming weeks or months. The issue is putting pressure on the Russians to get to this, a complete ceasefire. I think it is possible to do this in the coming weeks, maybe months, especially with this part of the end of the war. That was stated by Zelensky. Also, he stated that Russia have no right to set any conditions for ceasefire, so he strongly believes that Russia should accept everything that the Western countries and Ukraine demand. But when talking about the Russian side, they have completely different understanding of the situation. Basically, today we got report that Russia declines US proposal. We take the models and solutions proposed by the Americans very seriously, but we can't accept it all in its current form. As far as we can see, there is no place in them today for our main demand, namely to solve the problems related to the root causes of this conflict. It is completely absent, and that must be overcome. That was stated by the Russian authorities. And the main issue, of course, is Ukrainian willing to join NATO, and this is something that Russia will never accept. When talking about the situation on the ground, the Russians during the previous 24 hours managed to improve their positions significantly. Now let's talk about this and discuss this in details. And first we're going to talk about the Zaporozhye direction. Today the Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation reported that as a result of clashes, the armed forces of the Russian Federation managed to establish complete control over the settlement by the name of Lapkova. So this is the territory we are talking about. The Russians show us very fast and very good dynamic in this area. For example, this is the situation by the end of the 1st of April of 2025. The Russians just began their offensive operation. They were attacking and after withdrawing the Ukrainian units to the north of the settlement, trying to cut the main supply and logistic roads. And when the Russians established complete after withdrawn control over this territory, they began their offensive operation. And during the 2nd of April, we received the first video. And in this video, we can see how 3 Russian soldiers captured probably 3 or 4 Ukrainian soldiers that were trying to hide in the basement of this settlement. So based on this video, we have adjusted the map and we have colored at least the central and the southern part of Lapkova under complete Russian control. As for the end of the 3rd of April, once again, today different mappers as well as the Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation confirmed complete control over this territory. Of course, when talking about the Ukrainians, they show the picture completely different way. For example, the Ukrainians today confirmed that the village of Pjotr was captured and secured by the Russians. This is the village of Pjotr, and according to pro-Ukrainian sources, today by the end of the 3rd of April, just this settlement was captured by the Russians. As you can see, the settlement of Lapkova, according to pro-Ukrainian sources, is considered as a contested area or the gray zone. So of course, let's wait for additional updates, and I'll remind you that according to several sources, the Ukrainians have redeployed the significant number of forces in this direction, mainly from the special forces, and most likely the Ukrainians are planning to counterattack in the very near future with the purpose to restore control over the territories they lost during the Russian offensive. In this video, we can see how the Russians were attacking several vehicles from this direction, and as a result of FPV drone strikes, several infantry fighting vehicles of the armored forces of Ukraine were destroyed. Now let's move further and let's discuss the situation in the vicinity of the settlement by the name of Orekhov. We haven't been receiving anything from this area probably for the previous 6 months, but today we got the first geolocation. The Ukrainian sources published the video how they were attacking and bombing the Russian soldiers that were moving along N08 road. So the progress, we have some adjustments on the map. This territory used to be considered as a contested area or the gray zone under complete Russian control, but today we got the first proofs that confirmed the situation. As we can see, the Russians began advancing along this main road N08 in the direction of the settlement of Novodanilovka. Maybe the Russians were trying to get as close as possible to the former prison that is located in the southern part of the settlement of Malotokmachka. So basically we can say that by those attacks carried out by the Russians on the western flank, by this change on the ground on the southeastern flank, we see